Hi, I'm Al Davenport, and I'm excited to present to you Middle Schoolers and the Promise of a Pencil. The Promise of a Pencil by Adam Braun. I read this book about 10 years ago about how an extraordinary person can change the world. And I was inspired that summer to start this school year by creating the conditions for my middle schoolers to do something amazing that they never thought possible. And never did I think that it would all start from a poem by Walt Whitman, "O Me, O Life," and how this poem would help me create those conditions for my middle schoolers. The question, "O me, so sad recurring, what good amid thee, O me, O life?" The answer, that you are here, that life exists and identity, that the powerful play goes on and you may contribute a verse. And you may have recognized this from the iPad commercial when it first came out like 10, 15 years ago. It was narrated by Robin Williams. And the commercial ended with, "The powerful play goes on that you might contribute a verse. What will your verse be?" And that became my theme for this school year. And I talked to my students that each year you're going to contribute verses. We all do. Are they going to be positive or are they going to be negative? We make a choice each day. So I asked the students all year, what will your verse be? But then it also launched a huge project. The author of this book traveled to places in the world that don't have schools like the schools that my kids went to. And so we talked about how lucky and fortunate we were. And so Adam Braun, the author, started a nonprofit, Pencils of Promise, that built schools in places in the world that weren't like we have in Illinois. And so that got me thinking, why don't we as a middle school help raise money through this nonprofit to build a school for kids that don't have things like we do? And the kids in my school, they came from a lot and they had a lot. So this was an important lesson. So how much does it cost to build a school through Pencils of Promise? Well, $25,000. So the question to my students was, students, can you raise $25,000 in one school year to make this happen? And so we were given Logba El Petki in the Volta region of Ghana as our location of where we were going to raise money to build this school. And again, this was a student project. We didn't want money coming from parents. We wanted kids to do this. This was the current school in Logba El Petki where the kids went. And I shared this picture. I got it blown up huge. And I put it in front of the school. So every day when my students walked in, that's what they saw. And they knew that these kids that attended this school, these are them. And we blew this picture up and we said, look at these faces. Look at these kids. There's no Chromebooks. There's 4 to a desk. We are going to help these kids get opportunities that we get every day and take for granted. And I also said, the keynote speaker talked about being the best for the world yesterday. We were giving the gift of hope. They weren't going to get a reward for it. They weren't ever going to meet these kids. They were going to do it because it is what was best for the world. And so they were super, super excited. So the day that they told the kids at Logba El Petki that some kids in America were going to raise money to build them a school, this was their reaction. And so I blew this picture up too and put it in front of the school every day so our kids got to see that these were the kids that we were going to give hope to. And again, my students were amazing. They did amazing things. Not only did we raise $25,000, we raised $26,297 in 5 months. And it was such an impressive thing. Thank you. This is the school. So my kids, they did bake sales. I had kids start a basement cleaning business. I had a little kid bring in their bag of pennies for their allowance and brought it in. Like, the stuff these kids were doing to make this happen was amazing. And when I showed the students, you did this. Not the adults, 12-year-olds did this. The pride that they had, the just sense of we did this and we can do anything was amazing. And so this was the day that the school was inaugurated. I was not able to go because there was a big Ebola outbreak in that community at the time. Otherwise, I was going to go. But again, to see 12-year-olds' faces light up, and when they were 8th graders and they got to talk at graduation, we had 9 speakers. Every one of those kids talked about the Pencils of Promise school that they helped build. And so again, looking at creating those conditions and those opportunities for kids to do things that they never thought possible, I think that's a huge part of our job, creating those conditions. And again, they saw things they never thought they could do. This couple, I shared this picture with all of the kids. This was an old couple from the village that had never gone to school. They wanted their picture in the new Pencils of Promise school in a desk so that they could feel like what it would be like to be a student. And my kids, some of them cried when they saw that picture. I mean, you can't teach that, but you can create conditions for that. Here's the plaque that sits on the wall of the school. This school block was built by Pencils of Promise and the community, dedicated to the kids of Ghana from the kids of Crone Middle School, inaugurated May 20th, 2016. Thank you.